Finally, we got obviously Bitfarms provides June 2022 production and mining operation update. So we'll get into the numbers here. We also have some details on their operations and growth, which is kind of good to see as well. And they actually had a pretty good month for mining, and we'll get into all the details here. But here's a quote from them. So the bunker is nearing completion of phase 2, and it will be our largest active site with 36 megawatts, powering approximately 913 petahash per second. This is their chief mining officer at Bitfarms. Binary deployments at the bunker drove 6% increase in our sequential month-over-month hash rate to 3.6 exahash per second. Production averaged 14 BTC for the month and is currently clocked at 14.6 BTC per day, which is pretty good. They have been growing consistently here in the last several months, and that is exactly what we want to see. And that is, for full disclosure, why I'm kind of investing in them. I think they're going to be doing pretty good. Do your own research as always. Importantly, with the miner installations continuing, we expect to exceed our Q2 2022 target of 4 exahash within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So this is actually really good. So they're off a little bit, obviously, from that to exceed our Q2 target. Q2, I mean, we're in Q2 right now, unless they do quarterly reporting differently. Some companies do. Q1 is like between April through June, and some have Q4 as January through March. So I'm going by Q2 as the quarter that we just basically finished up here. So they're a little bit behind, but they are getting there within 2 to 3 weeks. This growth, coupled with the recent declines in the overall hash rate of network from a 30-day rolling average of about 222 exahash to 212 exahash, signals we are well positioned to gain market share and increase our daily mined Bitcoins in July, which is true. We've obviously seen the hash rate come back down, but it is kind of going back up. I just checked it today, and it does seem to be picking back up, so it looks like miners are getting installed. In June, we completed the building structure for the first 50 megawatt warehouse in Rio Cuarto, Argentina, and are nearing completion of its roof and floor. Construction is also progressing smoothly on the construction of the high voltage 132 kilovolt transmission line that will feed the site. With construction on schedule, we continue to expect production to commence at the first warehouse in Q4 of 2022, and our plan remains to complete the second 50 megawatt facility in Q1 in 2023. So they're absolutely growing, which is good as well. Mining production, 3.6 exahash online as of June 30th. 420 new BTC mined during June 2022, up 58 from June of last year. 14 BTC mined daily on average in June, equivalent to about 280,000 per day, and approximately 8 million for the month, based on the BTC price of 20,000. I have the price a little bit lower for June, but not much lower. It's only a couple $100 lower, so we're pretty close to that. 3,144 BTC in custody on June 30th, representing a total value of approximately 63 million based on BTC price of 20,000. BTC held in custody on June 30th, 2022 reflects the sale of 3,352 BTC during June. We've obviously covered this, where I believe that they were getting margin called with Galaxy Digital. With that loan, they had to obviously sell more BTC to cover it, and they did. Let's see what else do we have here. So paying down the company's debt. So paying down the company's 100 million BTC backed loan facility to 38 million. That's a good thing. Obviously, the price of Bitcoin has fell substantially here since the beginning of the year. So they're reducing the outstanding principal by 62 million and freezing up 27 million of BTC that was otherwise collateralizing the loan above the principal repayment, reducing interest expense by 7 million on the annualized basis. So that's also a good thing. And amending the BTC-backed loan that was to mature in June 30th, extending the maturity by 3 months for the maximum of 40 million, of which 38 million is currently outstanding, at an interest rate of 11.25%. So obviously want to get that paid down. And selling 3,352 BTC during the month for total proceeds of 69 million, a portion of which was used to pay down the BTC-backed facility. And they obviously closed 37 million new equipment financing agreement with NYDIG. So that's good as well. So let's get into the numbers I have for them, and we'll call it a day, and then we'll see what happens this weekend. Okay, so Bitfarms, obviously 202 million shares outstanding. Stock price right now is $1.10. Market cap is 222 million. Institutions has gone up a little bit. We'll get into that down below, but right now it's at 15.96. 102 institutions are in it, and we have a stock price of a high in the last 52 weeks of $9.36, a low of $1.07, which was just within the last 24, 48 hours that we reached that. And the current hash rate is obviously 3.6 exahash that we have them at. Future hash rate is supposed to be around 7.5, so they're about 47% installed. hash rate average per miner is about 90.6 terahash on that, and it is improving here. So looking at the numbers here that we are tracking, I also added in a new column here to track the BTC HODL from month to month to see if they're selling or who is selling, who's isn't selling, who's just accumulating more. So they obviously sold. I have 3,351, which were really close to what they had. I had them at 6,075, but they might have had point something here and point something here that they sold to get to the 3,352. So about 67 million. They said 69 million based on when they sold. The price of Bitcoin might have been higher. So this is basically, I'm using the end of June price for this sale. So that's going to be always off a little bit. But they did get obviously to 420 BTC mined for the month of June, which is great. And they are mining about 14 BTC per day. May had 31 more days in the month. So had they had the 31 days, they would have been at approximately 434. So about 3 more Bitcoin mined in that same time frame, I guess you could say. BTC per petahash was 0.1167, so down a little bit from the month of May, but not too much. It wasn't too bad. And obviously it earned about $8.4 million based on that if you're using the end of June price for BTC. So that is obviously a difference of 11 BTC from May, but we know it's just because one day less. And per the quarter, we're looking at about BTC per petahash on average. So I'm taking the average for the last 3 months and the last 3 months hash rate, averaging it out. And we're getting about a 0.128 BTC per petahash on average for the last 3 months. So it's down actually from the first quarter, which was about 0.1305. So slight decrease in that. And then overall hash rate growth, we obviously had about 292 petahash increase in the last 3 months, which is pretty good, and about an 8.84% increase. So they are obviously continuing to grow. And we can see here that they've pretty much consistently grew their production of BTC every month. January 301, February had only 28 days, so you're going to buy in less. March obviously was a big month for them, 363, 405 in April, 431 in May, and then obviously June had the same amount of days as May. They would have mined more again. So nice consistent growth. I love seeing that. And let me see if there's anything else. Average hash rate per miner is also growing. So they were at 87.22 terahash in the first 3 months. In the second 3 months, they were at 90.69 on average. So that's also good as well. So that's increasing. So that's what we want to see as well. And then here are the miners that we installed basically on what they reported to getting them to the 3.6 exahash. So we installed these 103 terahash miners, about 1,040 of them roughly. And that got us to the 3.6 exahash here. And I do have them for 24 days of mining. And I did have to get them down on the mining days to 28. They might have had some, obviously, mining curtailment for electricity usage by the local towns and everything else. They might have shut down for a little bit, just so I can get them close to that 8.39 million that I have up here for what they possibly earned. So we're really close to what that's reporting. And we can see it here, 8.385, and here is 8.393. So really close to that. And it looks like they made about 37.5 million in the second quarter, which isn't too bad of a drop from the first quarter. So granted, they have been growing. That obviously helped them obviously take a less of a hit. Had they not been growing at all, they would have taken a much bigger hit here, I believe, in their total revenue for the quarter. And we're looking at approximately right now, if everything stayed the same till the end of the year, they'd be at about 133 million right now. But obviously, Bitcoin price is down, so that's why we have them currently down about $10 million for the third quarter. Unless obviously miners get installed, hash rate grows, they're going to be possibly obviously making a little bit more, and we'll see where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin goes up, we'll be in good shape. And then looking at the institutions here, really quick, we'll just go into that. Institutions have increased by 3 from last month. Shares obviously increased as well to 31.7 million, and percentage owned increased to 15.9, almost 16%, which is good. And that's the highest we've seen it here for a while now. So it looks like institutions are getting back into them. They are obviously looking at them as possibly being way undervalued. And we still have the same buy recommendation, so one buy. Price target did change a little bit though, went to 543 from 553 for the high, average, and low. So that is still good, and I have them at, well, right now I'm at PE 20. That's obviously not going to fly. Right now they're trading at, let's see, what are they trading at right now? About a 1. Yeah, about 1.5 P of future growth. That's 75% net income from gross revenue. So that's about $1.35. I would think once Bitcoin starts going back up, and we don't know when that's going to be, but they could easily obviously be going back up to 15 or so. So at $5, they would be at about a PE of 8 right now, that the way I'm calculating it. And if we get them to 15 or so, it would be about $10. So obviously about 1,000% increase from where they are right now, which wouldn't be too bad. I'll take that any day. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with obviously Bitcoin, everything else. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to show you guys. And I think that's it. We pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. HODL obviously is 3,144 BTC, and that's valued about 62 million right now based on the current Bitcoin price of 19,985. And HODL market cap is about 28% of their market cap is HODL position, and each share has 31 cents of Bitcoin HODL basically in it. So way undervalued in my opinion, like I keep saying, but we'll see where this goes. Once Bitcoin starts rocketing back up, I think the price of Bitfarms and all the other miners will start going back up as well. I think right now, not financial advice as always, but I've been dollar cost averaging as best I can. I don't know when I'm going to stop. Hopefully we won't have to wait too long. We still have 2 years before the halving event. Typically Bitcoin starts pumping back up around the 1 year mark before the halving, or at least stabilizing, at least somewhat, going up a little bit. So we'll see if that's the case. So we still have about 9 months before we're at that time frame. So in that meantime, I'm going to dollar cost average in best I can, pick up some more miners possibly, and we'll see where we go. So not financial advice as always, but that's kind of what I'm doing. I've been through this cycle before with Hive back in 2018. So now it's like, okay, I've been through this. I know what's going to happen. I know when to be greedy. The only thing I haven't learned yet is when to be fearful. I got to learn to be fearful when things are getting too high. I should have sold, but lesson learned. Maybe we'll get it around the next cycle. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, it would mean a lot to me if you guys would subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell.